Let's compute a row reduction example, or Gaussian elimination. So suppose we're asked to row reduce the following matrix. So first, you need to find the leftmost non-zero column that's shown here. In it, the top position is going to be the pivot position. That's here. We want to swap rows so that this position is non-zero, which it already is. And so now this is our pivot. We want to use this pivot to kill the entries below. So we can do this by taking row 2 and replacing it with row 2 plus 2 row 1. We can replace row 3 with row 3 minus 3 row 1. There. Now we want to ignore the pivot row and the pivot column and consider the submatrix outlined here in blue. And then we just repeat. So we find the leftmost non-zero column. The top entry in that column is our new pivot position, and we want to swap rows to make it non-zero, which it is now. Now we're going to use this pivot to kill the entries below, which means we need to do a replacement row 3 with row 3 plus row 2. There. So now we have our two pivots. We're going to ignore the row containing the pivot and all above, and the column containing the pivot and all to the left, and focus on the submatrix outlined here in blue. Again, we find the leftmost non-zero column, top entry of that column, swap rows to make it non-zero, all of which it is, and there's our last pivot. At this stage, we've reached a matrix that's in echelon form. If we want to continue, we can put it into reduced echelon form. So we start with the lower right pivot, that's the 5 here, and we're going to scale to turn it into a leading 1. We do that by scaling by 1/5, and there we have our leading 1. Now we're going to use this 1 to kill off all the entries above. We can achieve this by taking row 2 and subtracting 3 times row 3. And now we move one pivot to the left, and that's this pivot in the 2, 3 position now, and we're going to scale to turn it into a 1. And now we're going to use this pivot to kill all the entries above. We do this by taking row 1 and replacing it with row 1 plus row 2. We'll get that. And then we would repeat, but the last pivot is already in the top left corner, and so it's already a 1. We don't have to scale it. We don't need to kill off any entries above because it's already in the top row. And so we've reached our matrix in reduced echelon form.